Hello friends, welcome back to this free Figma course for complete beginners. My name is Ines, I'm a principal product designer and a hiring manager with 16 years of experience. If you've missed the previous lessons of this course, go to my YouTube channel and watch them. And in today's lesson, we are going to see how we can make a realistic scroll behavior in Figma. Scrolling is very important. We use scrolling almost all the time we test our designs. Because you might have noticed that in our devices, we usually don't have enough real estate to place everything that we want there. So we hide something behind the scroll. And if our prototypes emulate scrolling when we test them with users, then our users can see them as more realistic and more predictable. Without further ado, let's dive into Figma and see how we can make it there. Let's imagine that we have created this page in Figma where we intend some objects to be scrolled. But if right now we trigger a preview, we will notice that nothing is scrolled. So I'm scrolling it right now on my touchpad and nothing is moving. That is because Figma does not know yet that we want something to be scrolled. In order for us to set up the scrolling, we need to make sure we prepare the frame and tell Figma what do we want. So how can we do that? The first thing that we need to care about is the frame setup. Right now we have these objects that go beyond the frame. Unfortunately, if we will just clip the content, meaning that we will hide it, Figma will not know that this is the scrolling. Again, I'm scrolling here, but nothing is happening. So what we will need to do instead is that we will need to adjust the size of the frame to fit the size of the scrolling area. And then we will need to go to the prototyping tab and set the scroll behavior. You see it here. The first input that sets the position, we will review later on. Right now, let's have a look at the input called overflow. We see it is set to no scrolling. But obviously we want the vertical scrolling to be in place, and this is why we set it here. And let's get back to our frame and see how the prototyping changed. Right now, when I am scrolling the page, it scrolls vertically, the same way as I intended. And this is it. This is how you can set the basic scrolling in Figma. Let's review it one more time on the horizontal scrolling. So I have this frame here, and in order for me to set up the scrolling, I just need to adjust the size of the frame to the size of the scrolling area. So you see what I'm doing here. I'm not just visually hiding the content from the view, like the clip content checkbox will do. I am adjusting the frame size itself, telling Figma that this is the area I want my scroll to happen. And everything that is spilling over the frame should be scrolled. That is why this input is called overflow. I'm setting the overflow behavior to horizontal this time, and let's see what is going to happen. Now you see I'm scrolling horizontally, and this is exactly what we wanted. Again, this is very important, so I will repeat it one more time. If your basic scrolling does not work as you intended, you did not set the frame size to the right position. There is one more scrolling type that you can set, and it will enable scrolling to both directions. It is often used for the use cases such as maps, because this is how you can emulate the navigation inside of a map. And this is it for the overflow input. Right now, let's review how the position for the scrolling works. Let's imagine that we have designed this page where we want some objects to be scrolled, but the top object to be stayed in place. Right now, if I switch to the prototype, I see that everything will be scrolled vertically. This is provided that I set the overflow to the vertical one. But I can also set a position for certain elements inside of the scrolling group and define how I want them to behave. Right now, for the top object, the position is set to default and it is scrolled with the parent. This is why this object is also scrolled in the prototype. But if I set it to the fixed one, this will change how the prototype works. And now you see that this object is not moving anywhere because it is fixed. So this is that simple. I really like this function and I use it a lot. Let's review a more complex scenario. I might have this design where I have two lists of objects, and every list has its own menu item. And I might want these menu items to be fixed in place, but only when the list is in the view. This behavior is called sticky, and this is exactly what we can select in the position input. Let's set it as sticky for both menu items. So now if we switch to the prototype, we see that the first menu item is fixed on the top while the first list is in view. And when the second list of items is reaching the view, the second menu item, the purple one, is fixed on the top. Now, one thing that you should care about when you're setting up the scrolling behavior like that is the order of the layers. The layers that you want to be on the top should be positioned above all others. And then when the bottom layers are scrolled up, they are going behind the top layer. And this is it. This is everything that you need to know about the scrolling behavior in Figma. I hope you liked this lesson and now you know how to prototype the scrolling behavior in Figma. And if you plan to continue learning Figma, hit the subscribe button down below and click the bell. This way you will get a notification when a new lesson comes out. And I see you next time.